Mark P. Otten back with you. All right, welcome to your how to run chi-square tests in R video. One thing you'll notice here in the process of running chi-square tests, the way I've set it up anyway, is that we're not importing any data and we're not installing any packages. We're just typing in code and letting R do its thing. So that's one thing that's simpler about running chi-square tests. One thing that you do need to do, however, in advance is prepare a little bit of data. So for the first example here, this is a goodness of fit or one variable chi-square using gender data. And so what this is like, are there more females than males in our class? Or is there a difference in the total number of females compared to the total number of males in our class? And the numbers were 61 females and 29 males. So you need to get those numbers first. And so if you've run the chi-square test in SPSS already, you would have gotten it in the output. Or maybe it was just given in your word problem in your homework or whatever, the total numbers. So in this case, 61 female, 29 male, that goes into the first line here, gender with an arrow pointing to it, C parentheses, and then the two numbers. The word gender is me naming the variable gender, so that could change depending on what you want to call it. And then the order of the numbers was also arbitrary, like in this case, doesn't matter which order you put them in. I don't know why the letter C is there, but I don't have to necessarily know why all of this stuff is where it is in order to get the result that we need, which is coming. Okay, so that's the first line. The second line here, again, I don't know why it's called RES with the arrow there, but chi-sq.test, chi-square test, that's R's way of designating a chi-square test, I guess. The key for you is to use the same code, but make sure the variable here, I call it gender, make sure that matches in the first line, what you called it, so just make sure that's consistent. So I called it gender in the first line, brought that down to the second line there, and then P, I guess that's for probability, equals C, and then half and half. What is it? 1/2, 1/2. That denotes that the expected values here are 50% each, so, or half and half. So we've got 61 females, 29 males. The chi-square test is testing whether those two numbers are different than the scenario where it's half and half, females and males. So in this case, that would be like 45 and 45. R doesn't need to know the 45 and 45. It just needs to know, hey, there's two categories here, and we're going to divide them in half. So if it was three categories, it would be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. That makes sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Since we only have two categories, female and male, then we have half and half. So 1/2, 1/2. So you type that in and edit it if you have more categories. So it would be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 if there were three. It would be 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 if there were four. And then you just have RES at the bottom here. So you're going to highlight it all and you're going to run and you're going to get your result that hopefully matches what you got in SPSS already with the chi-square test statistic, your degrees of freedom, and p-value there. So that's your one variable chi-square in 4 minutes or less. Let's go to the two variable chi-square. Two variable chi-square is your independence test. And I've got this code also just typed in for you to use or for you to adapt to your particular problem. In this case, we had data that was a gender, female and male, the same data, but also there was a second variable in there, which was dog owner or no dog owner. So I brought in a little Excel file here just to illustrate the situation because the Excel file has it organized in a way that's a little bit more user-friendly. So in this case, we had 33 females who were dog owners, 28 females who were not dog owners. And so in the first line of the R code there, you go 33, 28, and you're just going across the first row. So if you had additional numbers in that first row, you would go to the third column. Here we just had two columns, so it's 33, 28. Then you go down to the second column, 14 and 15. Now in R, there's ways to label these so that you know that the 33 corresponds to the female dog owners, and so on. But I chose not to do it because I like the simplicity of this code. It started to get a little bit more, I don't know, it started to get long. The code started to get longer, and I don't like when that happens because then you start to get lost in what's going on. So tried to keep it simple here. The key, if you're trying to keep it simple in this way, is to just go across row 1 with your numbers here. So across row 1, 33, 28, and then across row 2, 14 and 15. Don't go down the columns, go across the rows. And then if you do that, then it should come out the way you want it to. There's also a term here on the R code. It's like NCOL. That's number of columns equals 2. So if you had more columns than we had here, you would change that to 3 or whatever it was. And then everything else, the rest of this code can just kind of be copy pasted from this video. So these last 3 lines here, once you declare that first line in the format that it's in, then R will be like, oh, this is 2 variables. It will know based on that, as opposed to just the 1 variable. So yeah, just go ahead and copy paste away on these last 3 lines. Copy paste the whole thing if you want, and just adjust that first line. And then I'm going to highlight and run, and you'll get it again. The output down there, the chi-square test statistic, degrees of freedom, and p-value. This one should correspond to the 2 variable chi-square. And you can compare to my SPSS video where I ran this in SPSS. Should get the same numbers. If I didn't, let me know. Oops, but I think I did. So that's it. Whole thing in less than 10 minutes. And yeah, as always, let me know if there are questions, if your R code doesn't run. Don't go too long with an error message or something that doesn't work before contacting us, because the sooner you contact us, the less stress you will feel and the quicker you'll be able to solve it.